Hello there, and welcome back to our series of 31 days of calming tips to help you remain calm through October and way beyond. I'm your host, Karen Del Maestro, your health and calmness coach. I'm also a breast cancer and BRCA2 thriver, and I specialize in helping breast cancer survivors after active treatment has ended when, to be honest, you might feel like the rug has been pulled out from under you. And you might be wondering, well, what now? What am I meant to do now? And that's where I get to step in and guide you down a proven path to get you back to enjoying your life again. Okay. Now, today we are talking about, one of my favorite topics, which is tea. Not just any tea. We're going to talk about herbal teas today. Okay. Now, herbal teas have been used for thousands and thousands of years, especially in different parts of the world. But there's many benefits to herbal teas that you may not even realize that can help promote relaxation and well-being. Now, I hear all the time from people where they say, well, I'm not really a tea person, or tea's not my jam, or whatever. And I'm still going to invite you to listen to this episode because I think you might learn something new. But I think that it's likely that you have not yet explored the bounty of herbal teas that actually exist. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to just keep your mind open, hear what I'm going to be talking about today, about how herbal teas can actually really help you in your life, in your health, in your mindset, so many things. Okay, and I just want to read to you, naturally, as I'm recording these, I have a cup of herbal tea next to me, right? Because I pretty much always got a cup of tea on my desk. They're always herbal, they're always caffeine free. And so one of my favorite teas, and I'll put the link in the show notes in case you want to go check them out. My favorite teas are Buddha teas, and I'm kind of really digging their chakra teas right now. So we have chakras in different parts of our body. But one of the things that I love is when you have, and these are tea bags. I do also have loose teas, but these are particularly tea bags that are unbleached. They're organic. They're all the things that I would want them to be. And they also come with the little sayings on the tag, which I love, right? It's almost like you're opening a fortune cookie and you're getting your fortune. So this is what I wanted to read to you, what this one has that I have in front of me today, because it was really profound. The day you stop racing is the day you win the race. Let me read that again. The day you stop racing is the day you win the race. Is it time to stop racing? As I take a sip. So good. So good. So let's dive into some of the benefits. Okay, some of the benefits of herbal teas. Number one, it can be super refreshing, right? And remember, you can have these warm or cold and iced. I prefer warm. I prefer how they feel in my body. The herbal teas can feel refreshing, not just on the palate, but when it comes to the body as well. So for those who feel on the brink of burnout, or as though your stress levels are through the roof, sitting down with a gentle cup of tea could be the exact remedy that you need. We're going to talk about the practice of making the tea also in this episode. Okay, this episode might be a little bit longer than some others, but yeah, I think that learning about this, I think, first of all, you'll get an understanding as to why it's so important to me, but it's so easy to add this into your life. So easy, right? Now, herbal teas can be absolutely awesome at helping your body to beat the bloat, right? If you feel bloated, especially after eating, it can be great at encouraging healthy and a fully working digestive system. So if you have trouble with IBS or your digestive system in any way, the right kind of tea, and I'm going to give you some suggestions at the end for some teas and what they're helpful with. And you'll see that list in the show notes. I may even I'll put together something that you can download with those teas on them. So you'll get that as a little extra gift from me to you. Okay, they could be great in helping prevent chronic disease, including cancer. Did you know that? Right? And again, I'll be telling you later on in the episode which teas specifically can be great for that. But herbs and spices have been used as natural remedies for centuries, right? And many of them come absolutely bursting with healing properties. So from balancing blood sugar to keeping your heart healthy, being full of anti-inflammatory goodness, right? They can be great at keeping out chronic disease, things like diabetes, stroke, cancer, and heart disease. Okay, so that's a pretty big bang for your buck in my world from a cup of tea, right? From a cup of tea. So when we think about remaining healthy, especially if you've gone through breast cancer, my whole premise to keep us healthy, this is what I do for myself, is to lower inflammation. Inflammation is the root cause of all serious disease. That's science, that's not a Karenism. And so the thing that I look at is keeping inflammation low. Okay, so if we can do that with a daily cup of tea, why wouldn't we, right? They can be great at helping fight colds and flus because they're full of antioxidants, polyphenols, vitamins, minerals. It's like herbal tea can be like your golden ticket to skipping out on cold and flu season. If we think of the golden ticket from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, right? It can be just like that. Can help slow aging. Some herbal teas can actually reduce the physical signs of aging thanks to things like antioxidants and their ability to fend off free radicals. Free radicals can cause oxidative damage to our cells, which will lead to wrinkles and the loss of elasticity in our skin, both of which, as we know, tend to be associated with aging. Right? Can help strengthen the immune system. Right? Things like ginger, so good at helping your immune system, especially when winter flu comes in. Turmeric, be careful with turmeric. And I will say this, not all turmeric is good. And turmeric is something that you need to actually check with your oncologist about if you are under the care of an oncologist, because there's specific ways that turmeric is recommended and there are other ways that is not. So be careful with that. Turmeric is widely known as an anti-inflammatory, but I want to be clear that it's got specific contraindications with medications that we might have gone through with breast cancer. So a positive impact on our immune system because it's also an anti-inflammatory. I love roasted dandelion tea. In fact, when I do seasonal cleanses, I'll use that instead of coffee. It's almost got like a coffee flavor without the caffeine, which is great. Certain teas have been shown to stimulate the brain, to help focus, concentration, and connecting to the task at hand. So if we are dealing with brain fog because of breast cancer, right? Why wouldn't we want to drink a certain tea that's going to help support and improve our brain function? Just by drinking a cup of tea. It's also been shown to lower blood stress, certain lifestyle factors, and yes, the world that we're living in, especially right now, can lead to a rise in blood pressure, which can have a negative impact on your overall health and well-being. Right? So again, something that we want to keep in mind. Now, I think it's also really important to say that there are some possible side effects of herbal tea. And I would be remiss if I didn't point this out. So overall, herbal tea is considered to be super safe and enjoyable for everyone with no proven side effects. But like any herb or spice, there are some people who may be sensitive to certain elements. So always check with your medical professionals if you have any allergies or sensitivities. Some herbs or spices may contribute to hormonal balance, dizziness, skin rash, nausea, heartburn, and other side effects too. So always research the individual tea to make sure that you're educated on the pros and cons before adding it into your daily diet. And this is kind of what I was saying too with the turmeric, is just because you know that turmeric is an anti-inflammatory, it doesn't mean that it is necessarily right for you. And this is especially true when you look at, well, should I take a turmeric supplement? Different again, very different than drinking tea. So make sure that you are checking with your medical professionals, especially if you're experiencing any of those things that I was talking about before. Okay. Now, how do we choose the right tea? How do you know which is the right tea for you, right? It's kind of confusing. And again, I'm going to put together a printout so that you can print these out and you can refer to it, because I think it's the kind of thing that you probably want to go back to, and listening to this whole episode every time might not be so practical for you. So what I wanted to do is kind of share my top 7. Obviously, there are many, 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 but these are my top 7. So let me just take another sip of my tea. Okay, so when we talk about calmness, I think the first tea that comes to mind would be chamomile, right? And this tea dates all the way back to ancient Egypt, still one of the most popular herbal teas today. And it is often used for easing anxiety and helping, like, as a gentle, natural sleep aid. I've heard it's very successful personally, and I don't dislike many teas, but personally, I'm not a fan of chamomile. I'm a fan of what it does. It's something I still recommend to many clients because of the benefits. Now, what is chamomile good for? It's not just the sleep aid. Okay, not just the sleep aid. It can help calm skin problems, help with digestive issues. As we've said, definitely help with better sleep. It can also help improve heart health. It's immune boosting, and it can help lower blood sugar. So many benefits from that one tea. The next one I want to talk about is hibiscus tea. Now, this is a tea that it's kind of tart, right? It hits the back of your throat a little bit and refreshing. It's one actually that I love to have cold. I do like cold hibiscus tea. Has a whole bunch of health benefits, and again, was used in ancient Egypt. So these are the things that hibiscus tea can be helpful for. It helps to lower cholesterol, lowers blood pressure, helps with digestion and weight loss, full of antioxidants. So it's a great immune system booster. Helps with liver health. Now, our liver is so important for detoxification. So that's great. We want to make sure that our liver is super healthy. And it also has antibacterial properties, all from a cup of tea. This one is definitely one of my favorites, is another one to talk about is ginger. Ginger tea is made from ginger root and hot water. Now, I will actually make my own ginger tea, right, by just peeling some ginger root putting some water on the stove, putting the ginger in it, boiling it, and then letting it sit for about 10 minutes. You can add a little bit of lemon to it, a little bit of honey in it after it's boiled. Don't do it while it's boiling. You'll lose all of the benefits of the honey, but it's great for that. It can also be used, ginger is a massive anti-inflammatory. So it can also help reduce any kind of discomfort from nausea, right? It's good for pregnant people, often combating morning sickness. Also for motion sickness, right? Really good. So what does ginger do? And one of my favorite teas is actually, I have a ginger peppermint tea that I drink every night after dinner. Every night. I've even got my husband doing it because it helps with our digestion. And so I'm giving my body what it needs to digest the food that we've had from dinner. So ginger tea is used to help treat nausea. It boosts immunity, has, as I said, anti-inflammatory properties. So we want to lower inflammation in our body. It can help if anybody listening, or maybe you're going to share this with your daughter or granddaughter, but it can help with period cramps. It helps prevent indigestion. It can also help with brain function, helps fight bacteria, and it can also aid with weight loss. Now, the next tea that I'm going to talk about is one that many people don't know how to pronounce. And if I'm being honest, I always forget. So I actually looked it up again to make sure that I'm pronouncing it correctly before I did this episode, because for some reason, it doesn't stick in my brain. Has that ever happened to you? Yeah, right. We're all human. So this is rooibos tea. And this is actually spelled Roobos, but it's pronounced rooibos. So this comes from South Africa. It's a deep, rich color, and it's very full-bodied, these flavors. You can get, it doesn't have caffeine. It's high in antioxidant. And so it's been known, and this is one that you often see with rooibos with different things. If you go to the store, you'll see different variations of it too. But helps lower blood sugar, promotes weight loss, high in antioxidants and vitamins. It's an anti-inflammatory, improves skin, aids digestion, and really important, helps lower the risk of cancer. This is rooibos tea. Helps lower the risk of cancer. Now, if this has been proven, which I did get all of this information today from a reliable online source, right? I do my research before I share these things with you. That's a tea that I believe that most of us need in our little toolbox. So when I say that, your tea toolbox, so I actually have a bamboo box that has sections, and it has different tea in each section. You can actually get them on Amazon, super easy to find. But so I'm not looking at opening boxes all the time or anything like that. I've got all of my teas set out in my cupboard, and I just pull out that and I can pick out my tea. So super easy. That's how I've got mine arranged. Now, another tea, I've just got a couple more that I want to share with you. 3 more. So hang in with me, because it's amazing though how tea can truly impact us, right? We don't realize that these things can be powerful. It's not just a drink, but they can really aid our health in a super easy way. Now, peppermint is the next one, right? And it can be super refreshing. Love it. Great at healing digestion. It's even often used for IBS syndromes, soothing an upset stomach. And it can help with nausea, helps boost your immune system, can freshen your breath, can help with menstrual cramps, and improves nasal airflow. So especially like in those winter months, or maybe you're feeling a bit stuffy, that might be a great tea to start drinking. It can also help reduce stress. Let's say the effect that stress has on our body, right? We're not changing the stress. Now, another one that I want to talk about is a member of the daisy family. So just like chamomile, this is echinacea. You may have heard of this because this tea is kind of most famous for its cold and flu fighting properties. And that's because it helps our immune system, right? It's often combined with other herbs and spices to make it more palatable, but it's antioxidant rich, can reduce cold and flu symptoms, can help reduce anxiety, anti-inflammatory properties, and it can heal and help with skin conditions like acne. Amazing, right? Just from tea. And I'm going to talk about just one more. Okay, just one more today, and that's rose hip tea. This is small red fruit buds of the rose plant, and it's really rich and ripe, and it's very, very herbally. It's got a sharp aftertaste, but it's got a lot of health benefits like stabilizing blood sugar, improving heart health, and keeping our immune system in tip-top shape. Right? It's also been shown to help with weight loss and good for type 2 diabetes because it helps to stabilize blood sugar. So as you can see, these things that you may say, I'm not a tea drinker, but maybe you want to be a tea drinker. Maybe you want to find some teas that work for you. And this, you don't have to go out and buy them all. But start by just trying one at a time and seeing how you like it. Do you like it warm? Do you like it cold with ice? Right? Definitely a great part of your day. And just turn it into a ritual. Now, when we talk about tea rituals, there's a couple of things that pop to mind. Okay. Number one is what I do when I'm drinking a cup of tea. Now, you might think, okay, drink a cup of tea, boil the kettle, get some boiling water, put it on your tea, and that's it. You're done. Drink your tea. But here's the thing. We can shift the intention of that action by simply changing our thoughts. When I make a cup of tea, and a lot of my teacups are kind of rounded, and that's because I love to hold the tea as a bowl, almost as an offering that I'm offering up to my body. This may feel a little woo-woo for you, and that's okay, but bear with me, okay? So instead of just getting on with my work and drinking my tea, which, you know, I've told you I often have it at my desk, I don't. I stop and I take a sip of that tea and I feel it as it goes down into my body. And I receive its amazing gifts with gratitude. Okay. It changes the way that we actually drink. So I'm not mindlessly just taking a sip of tea, but I'm thinking about what that tea might be doing for my body, my health, my overall well-being. I'm thinking about that and inviting that in and receiving that as the gift that it can be. And it changes the way that we feel. It makes us present, right? It puts us into this moment versus just doing something mindlessly and not even thinking about it. So the other thing I want to talk about, I'm going to actually invite you to do this as your calm action of the day. And I remember years ago, years and years and years ago, watching an episode of Oprah. Where are my Oprah fans? I miss her, right? Her show was always spectacular, learned so much. But this was on one of her episodes, and obviously it stuck with me because it was a game changer for me at that moment in time. Again, instead of mindlessly boiling the kettle, making the tea, getting on with something, grabbing a sip here and there, Oprah said that she did this as her after dinner ritual. And for her, she was using it as something that kind of was to cut down on her grazing on food after dinner. So, instead of reaching for ice cream or cookies or nuts or whatever it might be, right? But so often when we sit down at night, we're like, oh, I need a little nibbly something. So she was using this as something to help her maintain or lose weight at the time. I can't remember where she was in her weight loss journey. But what she said that she does is that she makes a cup of tea, but she doesn't just make a cup of tea. What Oprah did was she would get a beautiful tray, and you can get them very inexpensively these days, either off Amazon or if you have a Home Goods close to you or whatever, maybe you have one already. But she would get a tray. She would get a teacup, like a pretty teacup, not just any old teacup, something that really made her happy to look at. It brought her joy to look at. In typical Oprah style, she would do a little vase with a one or two flower buds in it. I don't normally do that. But she would make it a special event for herself, a gift for herself, right? And we do these things when others come over. We might make a bit of a fuss, but why don't we do it for ourselves, right? Why don't we make these everyday things special? And when we do, these are huge acts of self-care. These are huge acts of showing yourself love, care, intention, knowing that you matter enough to make a little tray for yourself. Or maybe it's just grabbing your favorite mug so that when you're holding it and you're drinking from it, you're feeling good. Okay, so that's your calming action of the day, is to think about trying a new tea, maybe try a new flavor, and set up something that makes you feel special as you're drinking it, because that can change the whole experience. And I love that. Absolutely love it. Okay, so as we end up our episode today, we're going to end it the way we have been. And that is by gently placing your left hand over your heart, your right hand gently on top, like you're hugging your heart. And who needs it most today? Your 10-year-old self, or maybe you today as you stand here? But be intentional with these words and receive these words and the feeling behind them the way that you want and need to feel them. Repeat after me, either out loud or in your head. You are loved. You are safe. I've got you. I love you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to go and drink my cup of tea now mindfully, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye for now.